What if the physical resistance you feel right now, whether you are holding a phone or sitting in a chair or just feeling the ground under your feet, what if it isn't actually matter at all?
It's a pretty mind-bending thing to try and wrap your head around, honestly.
Right. Like, what if that sensation of solidity is nothing more than, I don't know, a highly localized mathematical probability pushing back against another probability?
Exactly. And all of it wrapped up in this evolutionary illusion designed specifically just to keep you alive.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about. And that is exactly the bias we are dismantling for you today on this deep dive.
We are fundamentally biased to believe in a universe of static, solid objects, It's just how we're wired.
We really are. But today we're pulling from a highly provocative 2026 essay by Paul Huygensen. It's titled On the Primacy of Energy and the Question of Reality.
Which is such a fascinating piece of work.
It really is. And the mission of this deep dive is to explore Huygensen's radical reframing of existence. We're going to deconstruct the idea of the physical world entirely.
Right, because modern physics has increasingly unsettled our long-standing assumptions about reality. It really forces us to confront things quantum mechanics has been hinting at for decades.
Exactly. And we're going to explore the profound, almost sci-fi concept that superconscious energy is life itself.
Yeah, and I think it's important to emphasize right up front that this isn't just theoretical musing.
Right.
It's a fundamental shift in how you should view your own existence. We're moving away from a world of static objects into a universe of continuous unfolding processes.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because before we can understand reality as this, superconscious energy, we first have to understand why our traditional view of a solid universe is just, well, it's outdated.
Completely outdated, yeah.
So we had this persistent historical search in scientific inquiry for the ultimate indivisible solid building block,
Yeah.
right? First it was atoms.
Right, the whole idea of atoms is tiny solid billiard balls.
Exactly. And then we moved on to subatomic particles. But how has this search repeatedly led to abstraction rather than finality?
Well, there was this lingering desire in the scientific community to view those elementary particles, quarks, leptons, as the ultimate Lego bricks of reality.
The final unbreakable pieces of stuff.
Exactly, yeah. But as quantum field theory has matured, that classical desire for solidity has entirely collapsed. It's just abstraction now.
Because when you look deeply enough, the matter is just, it's replaced by relational structures, right?
Right. You don't find a thing when you look closely at an electron. You find localized excitations in a field. You have these dynamic fields oscillating and interacting.
So Huygensen's conclusion is that what we call matter is not primary.
No, not at all. It is wholly derivative.
It's just a transient, highly interdependent configuration that emerges from these energetic processes. To make this a bit more relatable for you listening, it's like zooming in on a high-definition photograph.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Yeah, like you think you're looking at a solid, permanent object, right? But when you zoom in far enough, the image just dissolves into thousands of tiny, glowing pixels of light that are constantly refreshing.
What's fascinating here is that what appears so stable and tangible to us at the human scale.
The macroscopic scale.
Right, exactly. It's actually structured through unimaginably fast motion and complexity at the extreme microscale.
It's all just motion and resistance, like a verb acting like a noun.
A verb acting like a noun, yes. The solid objects around you are essentially these hyper-complex interference patterns sustained by continuous energetic motion.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. If the universe isn't made of solid things, but rather this highly ordered flux of energy, what exactly is this energy?
Right, because historically, physics treats that energy as blind. Just a dead mechanical driving force.
Like a wind-up toy.
Exactly, a cosmic wind-up toy. But Huygensen makes this leap beyond established empirical consensus. He argues that this dynamic energy is not merely mechanical.
Wait, so Huygensen is suggesting that the energy making up a supposedly dead rock and the energy animating us as living humans are fundamentally the same.
Yes,
That energy isn't just a blind battery powering the universe, but has a base level of awareness.
that is exactly his point. He posits that this foundational energetic substrate is imbued with intrinsic awareness. He calls it proto-consciousness.
Proto-consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, that sounds a lot like panpsychism. The idea that mind is a fundamental feature of reality.
It does flirt with that, sure. And a lot of strict materialists push back hard on that because they feel it's unfalsifiable.
Right, it feels almost mystical. Like, how does he bridge the gap from quantum fields to awareness without sounding like sci-fi?
Well, he attacks the hard problem of consciousness from the bottom up. The traditional view relies on emergence, right?
The idea that if a biological machine like a brain gets complicated enough, the lights just magically turn on.
Precisely. But Hogginson argues that's logically incoherent. You cannot derive a subjective property from a substrate that has absolutely zero subjective potential.
Oh, okay.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it shifts our entire emphasis. For human consciousness to exist at the macro level, the raw capacity for awareness must exist at the micro level.
But he isn't saying, like, an electron has thoughts, right? He's not saying a magnetic field is having an existential crisis.
No, no, of course not. That's why proto-consciousness is the key term. It's just the raw, fundamental capacity of a system to register or react to a change in state.
Okay, that makes sense. So this provides a really unifying lens. Physical structure and life are no longer separate phenomena.
Exactly. They are expressions of the exact same foundational energetic process. Life isn't an accident happening to matter.
Superconscious energy is life itself.
Superconscious energy is life itself. Yes, existence is continual emergence. At every moment, what you perceive is actively being generated by these interacting fields.
Okay, but, and I have to play devil's advocate here, if reality is actually this swirling continuous flux of proto-conscious energy,
Yeah.
why do you just see a normal, boring, solid world when you look around? Like, why am I just looking at a mundane ceramic coffee mug right now?
Because of the filter of human perception, I mean, Hogginson argues that human perception occupies an incredibly narrow but highly functional bandwidth within this energetic system.
A functional bandwidth, okay.
Right. We tend to think our sensory limits are deficiencies, but they aren't. They are absolutely necessary constraints.
Because if we saw the full reality, it would just be too much.
Exactly. These constraints filter an overwhelming depth of quantum information into a coherent, navigable experience. A direct apprehension of the underlying reality without these filters could actually exceed our capacity to interpret or endure it.
You know, it's like wearing noise-canceling headphones to a heavy metal concert.
Oh, I love that.
Right, because if you heard the full, unmediated roar of the amplifiers, it would blow your eardrums out. Our brains are essentially acoustic filters, dialing down the universe so we can safely walk to the kitchen and make a sandwich without our minds melting.
That is spot on. We trade complete truth for functional stability. Our perceptual equilibrium is calibrated specifically for stability, not for completeness.
So we are walking around in this heavily redacted simulation of the universe, basically.
Yeah, a necessary biological hack,
Yeah.
because this energy has dual implications for humanity. It's not all just, peaceful humming fields.
Right, because energy is the capacity to do work.
Yeah.
So knowing that we are walking through a filtered reality of immense conscious energy, how do we interact with it?
Well, Huygensen points out the dual nature of this energetic reality, the exact same processes that generate structure and coherence.
The stuff holding my DNA together.
Exactly. Those exact same processes can also cause profound disruption.
Entropy versus negentropy.
Right. When these foundational energies are released without constraint, they completely dismantle the very forms they sustain. It really highlights the delicate balance of physical existence.
Like nuclear fission, right?
Right.
We unlocked the atom, and it became the most devastating, destructive capability we have.
Exactly. It proves just how violently powerful this invisible energy really is. But on the flip side, human creativity assumes a deep, profound significance in this framework. Well, the impulse to produce beauty, whether that's art, music, movement, or scientific discovery, it reflects our intrinsic participation in the generative dynamics of reality itself.
So what does this all mean? If the energy that holds atoms together can also blow them apart, is our drive to create art and science our way of actively choosing the structuring side of the energy rather than the destructive side?
This raises an important question. Because yes, we are participating in producing beauty and structure. We are siding with coherence.
We're channeling the generative energy.
Exactly. But Higginson points out a persistent gap here. We can engage with the world's generative dynamics, but we still lack a total understanding of its underlying nature.
We still don't know the ultimate why.
Right. To conceive of reality this way doesn't solve the mystery of existence. It just repositions it. We are actively participating in a process we cannot fully comprehend.
Wow. It really moves it from a cold, mechanical mystery into a living, vibrant one.
It does. It's deeply humbling.
It really is. So just to sort of wrap up this deep dive for everyone listening, we've gone from Dismantling the illusion of solid matter, right?
Yeah, saying goodbye to the ultimate Lego bricks.
Exactly. And then moving through this mind-expanding concept of superconscious energy being the root of life itself.
And then realizing our role as active participants in the ongoing creation of reality through art and science.
It's incredible. You are an ongoing, highly complex biological interface, sustained by an unfathomable ocean of aware energy.
And you have to respect the filter that keeps you alive, but never forget what it's hiding. In fact, if I can, I'd love to leave you with one final thought to mull over.
Please do.
If our sensory limits are precisely what keep us safe from the overwhelming nature of reality, perhaps those fleeting moments of profound wonder.
Like when you get chills from a song.
Exactly. When we listen to a beautiful piece of music or suddenly grasp a complex scientific truth, perhaps those are the few times our filters thin just enough to let the superconscious energy of the universe recognize itself in you.
Oh, wow. What a phenomenal thought to carry forward. The universe recognizing itself in you. Thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us today. Stay curious and keep questioning the solid ground beneath your feet.